to our good friends over at CDP for hosting the webinar today. So what we've got planned for you all, and this was in the email that went out in terms of what we're going to cover, is we're going to give you a little bit of background. There's a pretty large group here, and not all of you know the background. Brett gave you a good little introduction on our background, but I want to give you a little bit of background on the company and what we do, so that you know we have the proper experience to be able to present you these things. And then we're going to go over a few goals as to what we want to accomplish today. We're going to discuss ways to accomplish those goals, basically one slide on how you can get to those goals. And then what we like to do is we like to just show you that. And so we'll go through a list of the hows. And the hows are, you know, we'll just demo it for you and show you how you can accomplish each one of these items. And we're going to do it live, and we're going to do it with real data and real proposal templates and real Excel worksheets, so that you can see how easy it is to do all these things and how quick it is to set it all up. This is, we try not to be salesy. We try to make it educational, because that's what, you know, helps you as a builder, is to provide you the education. The rest is just a tool. So how to do things is what we're going to focus on today. And we do have a few poll questions to kick it off to see how we want to tailor the demo a little bit to your current status. So Brett, you want to go ahead and kick off the poll questions?
All right, can you see that, Dave?
Yes.
All right, so we have people voting, and so far we have 83% use Word, 33% Excel, and 17% bidding software.
Okay, that's great.
And this is set up that they can select multiple choices here. It's just not one.
Right.
All right, now we're at 86 Word, 29 Excel, 14 bidding software. All right, would you like to go to the next one?
Please.
Okay, so we've got a couple polls here. We're going to go to the second one. And this is, how do you manage standard proposal documents? So how, as a company, does everybody use their own? Do you have a standard format that you share of standard documents? Do you have it in some type of formal system to manage that? So here, Dave, we have 14% each individual uses their own, 71% on some type of file share of standard documents, and 13% other. Okay, I'm going to leave it. There's still some people voting, so I'm going to leave it open for another couple seconds. So now we're at 25% for individual, 63% for file share, and 13% other. The next poll is, do you use Excel to prepare your estimates? That's a yes or no. That should be fairly easy. Huh, that's interesting. We're at 50-50 on that, Dave.
Okay.
And the voting came in very quickly.
I expected Excel to be higher, but that's good. And
the last poll is, how do you track your bids? So do you not track them? Do you have an Excel spreadsheet set up where you track them? Do you use something like an Outlook with some type of reminders? Do you have a specific bid tracking system like a Salesforce or a Top Builder or a CRM system, or do you use some other method? And this is the last poll. So right now, Dave, we have 13% say they don't track, 38% say in Excel, 13 use a bid tracking or CRM software, and 38% use something other than that. And I just want everyone to let everyone know we don't track who answered how. This is all anonymous here.
Okay, say those numbers again real quick, Brett.
So it was 13% say they don't track it, 38% in Excel, 0 Outlook, 13 in a CRM bid tracking software, and 38% in another system.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, this is good data. I wrote down all the notes and the responses, and I'll be using this to help emphasize certain parts of the presentation. I will get started. And thanks for that, guys. So real quick, Brett already gave a pretty good background on our experiences, but I just wanted to cover it real quickly. As Brett said, we started the Top Builder Solutions in 2008, and what we focus on is commercial construction, and that's all we focus on. We have the CRM component of that, of course, but for commercial construction, there's other pieces to that bid tracking and proposal builder as well. Our employee owners have a lot of experience doing this, probably more than I want to admit, but 30 plus years in this industry and doing software for this industry. So we have the experience. We have lots of customers, lots of types of customers, and just so everybody knows, the Spectrum CRM product or the Top Builder Solutions product is the same product. We have a branded version for Spectrum CRM, and it is sold separately. It doesn't have to be tied to Spectrum. You can buy it by itself, and a lot of people do. So I just wanted everybody to know that. And if you're interested, of course, contact CDP to get that going. So that is our background. So what we have planned for today in terms of our goals. Okay, like I said, this is educational. And what we want to help you do is understand how you can streamline or make your bidding and proposal process more efficient, quicker, easier. And that's a big part of what we're trying to show you how to do today. We want to help you make sure your proposals and your bids look professional and have a high level of quality. We hear a lot of times from customers that they struggle with that, and they don't have a process, they don't have any standards in place, and their proposals don't look as professional as they'd like. So we're going to try to help you accomplish that. And then once you have professional looking proposals with a high level of quality, we want to make sure that that's propagated consistently for your ongoing proposals and your bids, and then also, of course, across your company. If you have multiple locations or multiple divisions, you want those professional-looking proposals to be consistent. And then also ensure that your proposals are complete and accurate. If you're recreating proposals from scratch every single time, there's a lot higher chance to make a mistake or leave something out. But if you have it built one time and it fills in the blanks, then you can catch mistakes early, and then those mistakes aren't repeated, or you don't have the opportunity to make mistakes in the future once mistakes are corrected. Hopefully you never have that, but if you have a good process and a tool that helps you replicate the proposals from standardized documents and from the data that you have on your customers, then your proposals are complete and accurate. Now the other thing is, and this may be you might find this a little strange, but to increase your profitability in your proposal and bid generating processes. And you would think, well, how does a proposal generation tool do that? Well, we have good data and history on proposals and which proposals worked, which ones were profitable, which ones are not, based on the types of jobs that you do, the estimators, the project managers, the industry, and even the customer. And when you have all that data in one place from a proposal and a bid perspective, you're able to increase your profitability because you can replicate the ones that are profitable and maybe pass on the ones that are not, or learn from mistakes. And then you could go back and also say, well, hey, we had this, we had this job in the past, and I know we did a similar proposal. You can go back and look at it, say, oh, well, we didn't make a lot of money on this one, so we can tweak it so that our profitability is better. And we'll show you that. And then, of course, you want to make sure your proposals are delivered on time. We have lots of stories about this, where we used to track when proposals were due, on what day they were due, and we had customers say, well, hey, look, we need to know the actual hour it's due. It's due at noon on a certain day, and if we miss these deadlines, well, we're eliminated from the short list, and we don't want that to happen, of course. So if you don't deliver your proposals on time, then you could possibly get left out. Okay, so that's what we're going to try to help you with today. And so how are we going to do that? We're going to show you how you can capture and categorize and manage standard documents that are used to generate proposals. Now, they can be any kind of document. They could be cover letters, the actual proposals themselves, quote sheets. They could be any kind of attachment that you submit with your proposal. For instance, insurance requirements or security requirements, anything like that. And then allow you to be able to categorize these documents by document type, division, location, and even categorize it by individual employee. We'll show you how to add proposal data directly to those documents, and then also integrate these documents with Excel. Okay, and then we're going to show you how you can generate a proposal automatically by combining these documents together into a single proposal, and then be able to send that out and track it. You can also save it and then report and analyze the information as well. Okay, and we have a nice little report to show you. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go through this how, and I'm going to walk you through a quick demo and show you how this can be accomplished. Okay, so let me do this real quickly. So I am about to log in to the CRM system, as you can see on my screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a standard document that I have. And let's say this is a document that I've used for years to send out to customers. And I'm going to start a process of taking this document and making it a standard document for all my proposals moving forward. So I'm going to show you real quickly that I have a document, and I'm going to do my very best to show you these things so that you can see them over the webinar. Okay, so if you can see this, it may be a little hard to see, but what I have here is a standard cover letter that I've used for my proposals for years. Okay, so this is got my branding on it. It's on my letterhead, and it's got a place where you put the date and the customer's name and your signature block and all these kind of things. So I have that document. Now I'm going to close this window. I'm going to go back to the software. Okay. And I'm going to go into my software and I'm going to say, well, look, I want to go ahead and add that document to my content center where I store, track, and manage all my standard proposal documents. So I'm going to say, okay, it's a Word document, and we said during the poll that most of you folks use Word, and we're going to call this I'm going to call it the webinar standard proposal cover letter. And I'm sorry if you hear typing there, but I can't totally avoid that. I'm going to categorize this and say this is a proposal cover letter. And I can even assign this to an individual, so it's an individual's proposal letter, or maybe I'm going to assign it to a division within my company, and then I can also tag it for future reference, and so I can search for it later if I want. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go in here and say, okay, now I have the standard cover letter. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my system, okay? And you'll be able to see here that the letter is now included in my content center, in my place that I'm going to organize all my standard proposal documents. And let's say right here what I'm going to do, just real quickly, I'll just say where it says Dear Recipient, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert a proposal field. We call them merge fields, but we're going to call it proposal fields for discussion purposes here, and say this is the primary contact for the proposal's first name. And I can also apply formatting if I want to, but the first name doesn't have any formatting, and I'm just going to insert that right into my proposal document. Okay. Now what I'm also going to do here is I want to see some example data. I want to see what this looks like in my actual proposal, so I can look at sample data, and I hope you can see this okay, but it says Dear Henry, which is just a sample. Say, okay, well this looks great. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay. And so now I have in my document management system, in my content center, that standard proposal letter right there. Okay, so now what I can also do is I can go in and I can build out other proposal documents in my content center as well. I can take my standard actual proposal sheets. So for instance, I have a standard proposal sheet that fills in all the blanks with maybe the list of the items that I'm going to deliver, what the cost is, the total dollar amount, information about the project, information about the customer, and things like that. And they can be inserted into these documents as well. Okay, so now I've added all these documents into my my content center so that I have all my proposal documents in one place. I have my cover letters, I have the proposal itself, I have a bunch of appendices that I will include, like references, security clearances, insurance requirements, all these kind of things. And they're now stored in my content center and categorized. Okay, so now I come along and I have a customer that says I need a proposal, and you'll be able to go in and say, well, look, I have that customer in my database. I'm attaching these bids to this one particular job. So I have one job and I have multiple bids that I'm preparing. And one of my customers, Albert Bell Construction, said, hey, I want you to come in and bid on this job. And so I've added this bid to the job. And then without going into a lot of detail here, you've got all this information about the customer and about the job. You have the bid history for that customer, and this is where the profitability goal comes in, where you can look at bid history. But ultimately, I've got to get a bid out to that customer, and I'm going to assign an estimator to that bid. I've got a due date. I've got the bid amount that I want to submit, and then I've got the actual proposal that I'm generating for this bid. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say, well, look, I've got that cover letter that I just added to my content center, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that out of the content center right now. Okay, so I've got everything categorized, and there's my webinar cover letter, proposal cover letter. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and you saw how it pulled it in, and then I'm going to just call this the proposal cover letter. I want that to appear as the first document in my proposal. So you can set the order of your documents right here. I'm gonna go ahead and save that. Okay, now it's added to the proposal. I already have added, just in preparation for the webinar, my actual detailed proposal, which is right here. So that, just assume that was already stored in my content center and categorized. I added it in preparation, like I said. And then let's say I also want to add, because the customer asked for this, let's say I want a list of references. Okay, I'm going to add that. All right, and I'm going to make that third in the list, and I'll just call it references. Okay, and just to keep things moving along here, I'll just quickly add another document, and let's say I want, they want the project manager that's going to be submitted. They want his background in the proposal. So tell us who you're going to submit on the project, tell us who their background is, and so I have the project manager in there. Okay, so there we go. Oops, you know what? I forgot to set the order. So let me go back, set the order, done. It's that easy. Okay, so now I have all these documents in place, and I'm going to use them to generate my proposal. But now what I want to do is I have prepared an estimate worksheet for this particular job, and I just worked it up in Excel. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to upload that worksheet. Okay, this particular one is coming from my hard drive. You can have them in the content center, but let's just say I worked it up from my hard drive. And I'm going to pull it in, and here we go. So there's the proposal, the quantity, units, description, and then the totals, and then I have a subtotal right here. And so I'll just call this the 5th floor expansion worksheet. I will save that. Okay. And now I have my worksheet added to my proposal. So I want to include the data from my Excel worksheet in my actual proposal. And then what I can do is I can go in and edit that document and say, well, look, I want a breakdown of the cost here. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to select that worksheet. I'm going to select the actual tab off of that worksheet, and I've got a whole bunch of tabs that I have in here that I used to prepare this document. And I'm going to say I want this range of cells on there, and I can put borders around it and format it, but let's just say that's all I want. And then let's say I also want the subtotal or the total for all the items in this field right there. Go to the proposal tab as well. Okay, and that's in cell D8. Bingo. All right, I'm going to save this document. Oh, and by the way, as you can see here, I can also edit these documents right in the proposal process as well. So let's say I just want to, up here, I want to say, hire us, we are awesome. Okay, and I've got a little word editor, and I can edit my standard template right here in the proposal. So in other words, you have your standard templates and you store them and categorize them in your content center or your document management center, but you don't have to use those blanket the way they are every time. You can modify them and they don't affect your standard template in the background. All right. Cool, I've got all my documents together. Everything is where I want it to be. And now I want to see what that thing looks like. And so I'm going to push a button and it's going to generate a proposal for me. And I didn't put in fill in the blank fields here. These were, if you remember, they were generic. But it went ahead and filled in the customer's name. Okay. And then it added the actual proposal itself, and it filled in the customer's name, the information about the project or the job, who is it going to, who is the estimator assigned to the job, and you remember that breakdown that I sent you, and then I inserted this in the wrong place, but you can see the total was put in there as well. So I guess I had my cursor in the wrong spot, but you can see how that can be easily corrected by editing the document. Now, I also have my references in there, and I have the information about the project manager. So those are the 4 documents that I put together for my proposal. Now I can view that document as a PDF if I'd like to see what it looks like as a PDF. Okay, and yeah, man, that looks good. That looks really good. And so I've got that, and now what I can do is I can download it so that it can be printed or brought on site if you want to do a presentation. But most importantly, what I can do is I can crank out an email, and that proposal PDF is attached to it. And then when I send it out, what I'm able to do is, if you can see down below here, is I can set alerts so that when this proposal goes out, I get an alert when the customer received it and opened it. I can get an email alert, I can get a text message alert, and then I can also say, well, hey, look, when I send this out, I want the status to automatically be set to bid submitted. And that way, by the way, a new follow-up plan will be put in place that can be tracked. And that is very important in terms of being able to make sure that you're following up on your proposals and that you're delivering them on time, because once I push the button and I send this proposal out, I have a follow-up plan that's going to be added to the actual job or the bid that's going to remind me when to follow up on that and when the bid is potentially supposed to be done or when they're supposed to be making a decision. So all that is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and push the button to send it, and it's sending the proposal, and so now the proposal is sent. Okay, great. So I have the proposal out there, it's sent. I can go back and look and see, okay, what happened there? Well, you can see right now, this is the one that I just sent. The status is now set to bid submitted. It changed the status. And if I go back into that bid, you'll have a follow-up plan in place that says, here's what I got to do next. We didn't set it up that way this time, but you can set it up so that you have a certain series of steps that are associated with the bid submitted status. All right, now what I can do is I can go in and I can track everything that's going on with my bids and my jobs on a calendar. I can see who's working on what bids, when are they due, what is the status, what is the job, and what is the amount of that bid. And you can also see if you've got some jobs that are out there that need a quote and nobody's assigned to it. So this, if you can read that, that says no estimator is assigned to these bids. And so you need to go in and deal with that. So you have that. And then you also have additional reports available. Let me switch gears to show you this. Okay. To show my performance on my bidding. So I can look at the performance of my bids based on a customer. I can look at the performance of my bids based on the type of the work I do. You can look at the performance of the bids based on the estimator or the project manager. And you can also look at it by industry and other things as well. So you have the ability to go in and analyze how well you're doing as a company with your bids. Okay, so let's do a recap. So what we wanted to do today was show you how to streamline your bids and proposals to make them more professional and improve the quality of your bids, to increase the consistency. So once you've got a good bidding process, you propagate that throughout the company and throughout the different types of jobs that you're bidding. You want complete and accurate bids. You want to improve your profitability, and you want to make sure they get there on time. And so we showed you how to capture your documents, your standard documents, in the CRM system, categorize them, and also add proposal fields to those documents. And proposal fields can be anything from the person's name to the bid amount to the address of the job. You have all this information that you can add to your documents, and then they're automatically populated. You'll be able to interface Excel data into your bids and your proposals. And then we showed you how to automatically generate these proposals into a single document by combining standard documents together, automatically generating them and filling in the blanks, and then you'll be able to email them out and then track it. So I hope that helps. I hope that shows you how we can accomplish these goals. And what I'll do right now is I'll turn it over to Brett for questions.
All right, thanks, Dave. So as of now, we don't have any questions. If you do have a question, please type it into the question box, and we'll pose it to Dave. So I really think this is great that it looks like it's fairly easy to use. You get to standardize your proposal formats that are going out to your customers. It looks professional, and the great thing is it's all in one place where everybody can take advantage of it. And you know, the one part about this, Dave, that's really great is that there's a lot more capabilities within Top Builder that lead up to actually building the proposal, and that's, you know, tracking your customers and doing your email marketing. So it's really a great solution, and you know, that was a great overview of that capability.
Well, thanks, Brett. Yeah, and the goal of the meeting today was not to talk about the whole CRM system. It was really to focus on the proposal builder and generating proposals from Excel. But you're right, there is a lot in there that leads up to that, including the email marketing, which hopefully gets you more leads in your pipeline by targeting, you know, general contractors, property owners, building owners, whoever your target customer is, and then capturing those leads and then managing them and following up on them in the system. But also, what's very important from a contractor's perspective is to be able to track multiple bids for the same job. And that is key. And you'll know that if, you know, we win one of these bids out of the 4 that are out there, the other ones will be closed out. And then your forecasting and your reporting, and then your, you know, the analysis on what bids we're winning and what bids you're losing properly reflects that, hey, you know, we didn't necessarily lose this bid. For instance, we were awarded the bid from a different general contractor because they got the job, and everybody knows how that goes. So that is very important when tracking your bids. Is to track them against that one job, especially when it comes to the analysis, the forecasting, and the tracking.
Dave, we do have a couple questions.
Okay.
The first question is, can the software do more than proposal generation, relationship management, tracking jobs, service calls, and marketing campaigns?
That is pretty much the core of the product as it stands today. We're always open to doing what's important for our customers. Those are the core features. It is not a project management tool, and it's not a estimating tool, but we do interface with many estimating tools that are out there in the marketplace. And then we pull in the financial information from other systems like, you know, Spectrum, of course. So those are the core features.
And another question is, proposals that have different clarifications, is there an easy way to bring in specific topic clarifications from a database of clarifications?
I'm not really sure I understand the question. However, the proposals can be set up so that you can pull in information from third-party systems such as another estimating tool or another database. I mean, another estimating tool is a database, and be able to include that information under, yeah.
And I think potentially maybe maybe from other Word documents where the clarifications might be, or whether it could be from email or something.
That's what. Okay, so that is what I thought the question was about. So the answer is yes. And the way that would be done, just to touch on it briefly, is you can store that information in the content center and add it to your proposal so it fills in the blanks. And that would be things like exclusions, and legal disclaimers and things like that. But it can be brought in from other sources outside. Yes.
All right. And then another question is, how does forecasting and reporting look or work?
Sure. So reporting is always something that we invest in, and we will continue to invest in. We have a forecast. There's a forecast summary, and the forecast summary is based on, here's just a monthly summary of a forecast based on what's in the pipeline for a individual job. So we're forecasting the expected revenue for each one of your jobs, whether you have 5 bids against that job or 1 bid against that job. It will appear once in your forecast. This particular report breaks it down by month and then job type, okay? And then we have a detailed forecast report that breaks that down even further to say, okay, for December, I have these jobs. These are actually the individual jobs and the amounts. And then it has a summary at the bottom. All these reports can be tweaked. Now, there's also something called a probability that's in there, because this question comes up a lot, and that probability is also used to generate these numbers. So if you have a 90% probability on $1 million, then it does the math and works out the right amount. We are also investigating, by the way, doing forecasts based on these performances. Hold on, let me switch gears real quick. So based on these performances, okay, you'll be able to forecast based on your win percentage by job type or by customer, if that makes sense. So we're working on another report like that. But in addition to that, we also have the ability to develop custom reports for forecasting as well. So we have all these different tools for reporting. I know that's a long answer to a simple question, but reporting is something we're very passionate about.
Thank you, Dave. At this point, I don't see any more questions, but I just want to let everybody know that we will, or I shouldn't say we will, we did record this session, and a link to the recording will be sent out after it's loaded. And please feel free to view it or share it with other people. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call and let us know, if you'd like to see the CRM in more detail, or have more specific questions you'd like us to address.
Thanks, Brett.
All right. Well, Dave, thank you very much. That was great. I really appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody for spending the time with us this morning to look at the proposal generation capabilities within Top Builder CRM. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a great weekend.